It was Naaman's obedience that opened the door for God's power to come down and heal Naaman. Sam figured it out. Yes, I was bored. Yes, I didn't feel like things were working right in my life. But by being obedient, I was opening the door to have God's supernatural power enter my life and change things forever. From that time forward, Sam never stopped. He never even thought about giving up. He came closer and closer to God. He saw God do miracles in his life. He saw all kinds of changes in his life. He set new goals for changes and succeeded. Now, it never went to that pathway where everything was one success after another. He realized that was a lie. But since he knew it was a lie and he recognized the truth, all I have to do is get up instead of give up. Now he wasn't bothered by the fact that he failed anymore. And so he went on living a successful life. Today, I think there's somebody here. Oops, I should have clicked that one earlier. I think there's at least a few of us here where God is knocking on the door of our hearts, whispering a thought into our mind, asking us to make a change. Don't know what it's about. You know, maybe it's reading the Bible more. Maybe it's praying more. Maybe it's talking to a friend or a neighbor about God. Maybe it's about inviting somebody to church or giving up a bad habit. I don't know. Maybe it's something else. Perhaps you're already somewhere else in the stages of change. Perhaps you're thinking about it. You're weighing the pros and cons, working your way through ambivalence. Maybe you're already planning for it. Or maybe you're doing it. Maybe you've already made a change. But God might be asking for another one. Now, before you make that decision, before you decide, yes, I'm going to change, or no, I'm not, there's three things I'd like you to consider. First of all, no matter what you've been told, primarily by Satan, no matter what your experience has been in the past, change is possible. The idea that it isn't is a lie from Satan. Paul says in the Bible, I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me. Change is possible for you, for me. But if you decide to start down that path of change, there are a couple of things you can expect. You can expect to be uncomfortable. You can expect to have ambivalence. You can expect to put forth some effort. And yes, you can even expect failure. It's going to happen. But here's the good news. Here's the good news. Should you answer that call with a yes, should you survive all those three challenges to change, your reward will be success. You'll recognize that anything's possible, and with that comes a sense of freedom, a sense of possibility. You're no longer bound by the limits of what you thought was possible. Now you're bound only by the limits of God's power. And what's that? Well, He created the universe. It's limitless. When you do that, when you obey God, you open the door for God to send blessings into your life, power into your life that you've never had before. And you'll be on an amazing adventure. Let me tell you a very brief story that a lot of you know that illustrates that. When I first started trying to find somebody special in my life, I'd gone on several websites, and I kind of knew that, there was ladies out of the country that, might want to come over here and all that. But I just thought it was complicated and difficult. Those were things I didn't want to deal with, right? I didn't want to have to change. I didn't want to have to put in the effort and all that. So I just wanted to limit it to somebody in my own country. Well, I met somebody briefly. It didn't work out. And I was praying about it. I was asking God, what do you want me to do? And He just put it in my head. You need to be open to any possibility. Anyway. So that's what I did. And you guys know the rest of the story. I'm happier now than I've ever been. Was it a challenge? Yes. Was there a huge amount of effort? Were there difficulties? Were there failures? Absolutely. But in the process of that, having gone through that, I can look you straight in the face and I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, I know for a fact God can do miracles. He's done them in my life. He's done them to bring her over here. It's not something I just have to read about in a book anymore. It's a fact in my own life. And that's something I will carry with me for the rest of my life. On the other hand, if you choose to put God's urging off, if you choose to ignore the knock on his heart, the little whisper in your mind that says, I want you to change, there may be consequences. As you know, most of you know me pretty well, I'm pretty open about my life and share most things. This actually is difficult for me. Back in the 1990s, I was enrolled in a nursing class through Fresno State. While I was there, I met a fellow student, classmate. And this man, this Freddie, he showed a great deal of interest in God. We had many conversations about God, and he asked more questions about it. What things are right, what things are wrong. And we got to talk a lot about it. And he also asked, well, why can't I, can I come over this weekend? Maybe we can get together and hang out and learn more about it. But you see, my routine, the momentum of my habits, was that I didn't have other people over. So I kept putting them off. Well, eventually, after one semester, I actually dropped out of the class, and I didn't keep in touch with Freddie. Several months later, maybe even a year later, not real good with time, I made contact with Freddie, but something was different. Freddie wasn't on fire for God anymore. He didn't have that curiosity anymore. That openness, that desire to learn more was gone. I'd missed an opportunity. I don't know if that will change Freddie's eternity or not. I know that God loves him more than anything else, and God will try and give him another chance. But perhaps I was the one who was supposed to reach, to be a friend to him, to show him what God was really like. But I didn't make that choice to change. I stuck with my old habits. And now I have regrets. So today, I'm asking you, choose God. Choose change. Don't make the same mistakes I made.